right. Before we introduce our guest, we're gonna do a fun exercise. Okay.
Perfect.
Did you guys ever simulate rain when you're in elementary school?
Yes.
No.
No.
What does that mean?
Okay. So can you do like multiple finger snaps?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So do it real lightly, kind of away from your mic. Everybody do it. All right. Thunder.
That's some heavy thunder.
This looks ridiculous on YouTube.
That's all right. Hey, welcome to the ASMR edition of the Vertical Plus podcast.
Why would we do that?
I have so many
Downpour
questions.
sets you to sleep.
Yes.
Sets you to sleep?
I don't know.
Put you to sleep.
Either way.
Speaking
right.
of being put to sleep,
Part 3 of Ben's story.
kind of the sequel.
We brought in a guest so it would kind of shake it up.
Yeah, we thought about, Ben's already long spoken. Let's bring in the person that he talks to the most to even further expound upon his incredibly long story that really isn't that long.
Did we bring in Ben's diary?
No, well, maybe.
okay,
I don't know.
gotcha.
It depends on how he treats her. Cammie Derrick.
Hey, let's go.
Huzzah. All right, I need to take a sip of coffee. Austin, talk.
Are you nervous to be here right now?
Yes.
Cammie? Yeah.
Yes.
How did Ben
Yes.
sell you on this?
He didn't. Oh, I did it. He didn't. He just told me that I was going to do it.
Oh wow, is that how marriage works?
Lead
with you?
pastors.
Very
I was
few
just-
times do I ever do
He
that.
said, "Hey, I need you to be at the podcast tomorrow." And that was like,
Did he mention
That was
in
like 3
favor
months
for
ago.
me at all? Or is it just, he just
"Hey,
told you?
Chase needs you to be at the podcast tomorrow."
Oh,
That's how it went.
that's what it was.
Yeah, backstory, that's been 3 months
3
ago.
months ago.
Yeah, but
and then
really-
it was just
I think really it's been a month, 2 months now.
2 months.
Yeah.
So you didn't actually instruct. You gave a suggestion like, "Hey, at some point in the future, do you think that we could?"
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, I very rarely instruct
Okay. Good.
in my marriage. Yeah. Unless it's asked for, and then I'll jump in there, and then she ignores whatever I instruct.
I do not.
Is this a
Take
marriage
all of it to
podcast?
heart.
Here it
Yeah.
starts.
I'm so excited. This is gonna be good.
Is this my second or third podcast?
Well, you did.
To be on, it just total podcast. Well, no, you did.
Oh,
so
you recorded
done,
one and trashed it?
No, you so here's the way it happened.
it didn't make the cut.
There's a former podcast that we used to do when we enjoyed our lives called the Hanger Podcast.
Wait, what's the hanger?
R.I.P.
Great question.
Oh,
I don't know.
Cool.
Anyway, Cammie was on that for 2 episodes. She did one.
Up there.
Yeah.
One infamous.
The second one, very infamous that we
Yes.
won't go into.
Oh,
You remember that one.
Yeah.
And then the second one, you and Ben kind of talked about kind of a little bit what we're going to talk about today. We're just going to do a lot more in-depth stuff with it.
Fun fact: that infamous episode with Cammie Derrick on it was the first podcast I ever heard from Vertical.
Oh, boy.
No.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Man.
It seems like Vertical took a lot of wrong steps forward in the
was like,
hiring process. For
I
Austin.
really thought
not
I
to go
wanted-
into them.
I
I
thought you just
really
meant
thought I
period.
wanted to work there. You know,
Vertical, where we
Sorry.
take a lot of wrong steps forward.
we fell forward a lot. That's
Yeah,
the-
that's right.
3 steps back and 1 more backwards.
So
That's
my
our
big question
saying.
is, why do we have Cammie here in the first place?
I needed something to do. I kind of run out of ideas.
Yeah.
No, so actually, it worked out differently than I originally planned. I thought it would just be fun to bring in Cammie cold and just have you two on together and make it fun. But you guys kept delaying, so I had to make it work somehow. So what we did was we did the backstory of lead pastor Ben Derrick's life. 2-parter. Go and listen to it. Longest episodes we've ever done. I'm not joking.
by far.
Yeah. But also I thought it would be interesting to inject like the other characters, the other main character in Ben's life into the story to get some of the backlog on like parenting, marriage dynamics, all the fun stuff that we enjoy talking about in our personal lives.
Okay, so it's a little bit of an exercise in further humanizing, which we like to do as staff here. We're people, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, you've been chasing this celebrity pastor thing so much that we
Yeah,
feel
and
like it's
it
an
hasn't worked out.
obligation.
Well, I
Yeah.
had to pivot. Like, okay, well, I couldn't become famous, so now I have to like make fun of the famous ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
That's
and
my
I'll just
shtick.
buy more boots and be happy.
Yeah, that's my shtick.
And you're going to
yeah.
do like the other smart men. You're going to piggyback off the success of your wife
Correct.
And her,
That's
you know.
right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
So are
anyway.
we kind of?
That's right.
So we're not necessarily fact checking what happened. Like, was he lying to us? But
I would be willing to bet that Cammie hasn't listened to either one of those
No,
episodes.
because she's heard those episodes.
Yeah.
she lived those
whole time.
episodes.
Being
So
really quiet over here.
we talked about it. Did you guys meet in college? Where did y'all meet?
Say it.
We met on a boat on a cruise ship.
Oh,
Whoa.
Yes.
we did not talk about that.
Yeah, we
yes.
didn't. Why?
That's another
What?
episode. Why did we meet on a cruise ship?
Yeah, how?
Because it was meant to be.
This was before Tinder. It was
All
a
right.
singles cruise ship.
They turned right on the reservoir. Anyway,
Okay.
You want the short explanation?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm curious.
Why were you on the cruise ship, and
Well,
what made you guys talk?
Why was I on that cruise ship? I have asked myself that a lot.
It seems like fate
one,
now.
She
that
says with
one-
regret.
No. We had just graduated high school.
Mm.
He had just graduated from JA, and I had graduated in Baton Rouge, and we were on senior trips with just a handful of friends, and he watched me the whole time.
Whoa.
Binoculars in
I'm
hand.
It
kidding.
was a
No,
little.
no.
It was a little less creepy.
No.
than
I just
that.
saw a lot of
No.
Owen in that
We,
smirk face you just did.
Yeah.
We just noticed each other and met each other.
Did y'all start dating?
His room was across from my room. We did not start dating. No.
Okay.
We were 18.
So what? You weren't
and-
legal to date yet
Um,
in Mississippi.
yeah, maybe.
What?
I don't know.
I just
Is
like
there
making Mississippi sound worse than it is.
No, we did not start dating on that
Oh, okay.
trip.
So, but you got Cammie's number, I'm assuming, and then you kept connection. Is that? Because
Yeah.
that's some distance, particularly for an 18-year-old.
Well,
to come.
okay,
and
so-
during that time in the world's history as well, there were no.
Yeah, y'all
the
had like
cell
those
phones.
dial-up phones.
Yeah.
Is
Oh
that-
man.
we literally we're old enough to have. We had to go to the drugstore and
You
buy
get calling
prepaid
cards.
calling cards.
Austin's like, what is that?
Yeah, it's like
Do you know what that is?
prepaid long
Yeah,
distance
yeah.
cards.
Well, Rachel had to do that in Turkey. My wife, Rachel.
You really don't know
I
what
don't
it
have a
is.
clue what that is.
Yeah, so I mean the real version of that story is that she grew up in Baton Rouge and the ship returned back to New Orleans, the port in New Orleans. So
Oh, here
she
we
got
go.
home before I got home, and by the time I got home, she had already called.
Oh.
So, which was
Had you like stolen something from
It-
her?
there was
as you
a-
were-
Wait,
Yeah.
clarification. So y'all did not know each other before
No.
no.
the cruise? Gosh, that's a way cooler story. I thought.
He grew up here.
You're
I
right.
grew up in Baton Rouge. So no, we did not know each other.
How long was the cruise?
A week.
You must have made quite the impression.
A week.
Yeah, yeah.
that's
I
a
was,
long time to spit game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, so you got back home. There was one missing call.
yeah. We missed it, and then
From
On
and then we-
the on
yeah,
the answering machine.
on the answering
Yes.
machine. Yeah, and then we fired up AOL Instant Messenger,
Let's
and
Aiming it
go.
up.
yeah, and that's how you build a relationship.
And then you both ended up at Mississippi College, correct?
Yes, yeah.
That's another story.
That is another story.
Separately, you guys both decided to go to
I was already
MC.
registered. I was already
And
registered to
you-
go.
And I'm remembering that you were going somewhere else, right?
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Mississippi State.
That makes much more sense now.
But you chose MC for her.
No, actually,
Oh.
in a stroke of
Oh, here we
maturity,
go.
even at 18, Cammie said we were on one of those famous Eckerd phone card calls, and she said, "Look, I'm not until you make this decision. We don't need to talk anymore because I'm not going to be the reason that you pick a college one over the other. That's not my
Dang,
responsibility."
that sounds like Cammie.
And
Same.
so we did. I think we ended up nice. It was about a 2-week process for me, and just focused on where I needed to be. And just, I mean, very long story short, felt like I needed to be at Mississippi College. Upon arrival, we instantly broke up. Yeah, so I think
She saw the other khaki shorts that were there. and she
Yeah.
was
You like that, don't you?
yeah, I pulled out the Chacos, and she was like, "Who is this Northeast Jackson
She
kid?"
was in for a week, not the whole.
Yeah.
You want to get in my Hennessy hammock?
Yeah. I was like, I thought this was a little summer fling.
That's
You weren't-
awesome.
We're supposed to switch
You're not
schools.
supposed to follow me to college. What kind of So yeah.
That's hilarious.
Man.
Okay, so what was, if we're following up Ben's story, what was college Ben like?
Oh man. Okay, I
Did
gotta
y'all
think.
stay friends while not dating?
No.
No.
That's a hard ask.
Yeah.
No,
we did
yeah,
not.
I'm not
we
surprised.
did not. He really gave me the cold shoulder. You want me to tell the rest of it?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
And then
Under-
I begged
yeah.
for him to get back together with me, and he was like, "No."
You hurt me.
Yeah, and he played it cool for like 3 days, and then
That's
we
a
got
long
back
time
together.
in the
Hey,
grand-
for a guy like me, yeah.
Not in the grand scheme
And then
of
we got
things,
back
but-
together, and then we never broke up again. We dated all through
Nice.
college.
Nice.
What was the college been like? He was very into his schoolwork. He studied a lot. You made straight A's, didn't you?
Close. Yeah. No.
I mean, it was that was a serious thing for him.
Well, part of it
class.
I had to, because if I didn't, I lost my scholarship money and I would have had to have left Mississippi College.
He was not he didn't do the sorority or fraternity thing.
Tribe.
It's like,
Tribe.
don't make
Tribe.
NC sound cool.
No, he didn't do any of that. He was really kind of there to get an education, honestly.
At what
Yeah.
point during college did y'all decide, all right, we're going to get married? That's just the way it's going to be.
I don't know when we first had that conversation, but I feel like we kind of knew early on, like sophomore year, probably.
Yeah. I started saving money to get her a ring sophomore year. Yeah.
What were ring prices back then?
A lot more than I had. Like a ton. And thankfully I was friends with the man that owned the jewelry store. I played football with his son, so he basically let me put the ring on layaway for almost 2 years.
Holy moly.
He just kept it in his drawer in the back of the shop. He's like, look, when you have money, come in and pay on it. When you don't worry about it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty neat experience.
So, and at the time, I'm thinking about your story. You ended up in Waco, but you weren't necessarily sure that was going to happen. Where did you think that y'all were going to end up during college? I mean, you had this long-term relationship. You kind of know you're going to get married. What did you envision after that?
I knew he would go on to seminary, so I knew we were kind of up in the air as far as where we would move. I knew we weren't staying there. I knew we wouldn't end up in Baton Rouge. Knew we were going somewhere away. But he didn't really want to do New Orleans, so Waco was kind of what he had his mindset to from the beginning. I knew we were moving away. I just didn't know where it would be.
And you weren't hesitant about Waco, but I do. I mean, just
There was like some cultural stuff. that
from
made you
knowing the
hesitant,
seminary
right?
world,
Yeah.
there's some cultural stuff around that. How did you feel about, like, okay, I'm going to marry this woman, and then I'm going to go take her to this thing that I hope is going to work out?
You know, it's interesting looking back, even seeing Cammie struggle to describe all of it. It's almost like we were just, wherever life was taking us at that point, we were okay with it. But for a strange reason, it just felt like, well, we were so young. Like, this is the next thing that you're supposed to do, so that's what we're going to do. We both grew up in very, duty, religious families, you know? So it's like, okay, if there's a man who's going to be a pastor, he goes to college, then he goes to seminary. And looking back, it was completely crazy. I was taking trips to, I visited Asbury and was talking about, I think, Dallas. There were a couple of places, and at that point, Cammie was like, well, wherever we go, we go. I mean, this is the next step, which is completely unlike her. But I think just because we were basically kids, it was like, well, this is what we do, and however it works out, it works out. You know, I think at that point, we were just relieved to be out of the, what's the best word, asphyxiating environment of Mississippi College and set free to go, start our adult lives. We were pretty excited about that. And then we hit Waco.
And that's a new episode.
Oh, okay.
And then we hit
There are
Waco.
lots of episodes.
Yeah.
Potential
Yeah,
episodes here.
Ben didn't really do a deep dive into Waco during his talk. For you, it somehow was 2 episodes, and we didn't get to Waco. So
There's not much there.
give me the quick version of what's the temperature like in Waco while you guys are there, freshly married.
Well, okay, so we did not know a soul.
Right.
We moved off by ourselves.
Well, there's no one in Waco at that time.
No,
anyway.
there's
Crowd.
Except for
nobody
a
in
cult.
Waco.
Yeah, it was Crowder.
There's
There were a
nobody
few
in Waco.
people, but then that
Okay,
got
and
reduced.
everybody wants to know if Joanna and Chip Gaines were there. They were not a thing then.
Okay.
Y'all know who they are. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're the better versions.
They were
of
not a
those
thing.
others.
There was nothing in Waco. We did not know anybody. And everybody in Waco had family in Waco. Everybody in Waco grew up in Waco. So we were
Outsiders.
totally the outsiders. And we just kind of stuck together, I feel like. We didn't have a ton of friends. Am I forgetting friends that we had? We had
School
some
friends.
friends,
Did
but not.
Dutiful Study Ben stick along?
He
Was
studied
the
all
guy?
the time.
Yeah.
I
worse.
remember him studying all the time.
What did you do while
Yeah.
y'all were there?
I worked.
Yeah.
Provided.
I was the breadwinner, yes. So, I mean, that was life was not fun. I worked, he studied, and then on the weekends we would go to It's the barbecue place.
Oh my gosh. Tony Roma's?
Tony Roma's.
Nice.
Like it was not a fun time.
And
It was not a fun time.
at this point, you knew that you wanted to go work at this camp.
Yeah. I just looking back, like none of this.
I feel like that's
Cammie,
where,
none of this
Cammie,
makes
it's on
sense.
video. You
Like,
gave it
do we
thumbs
have
down.
to talk about
No,
this?
Camp's the big thing.
well, here's the thing.
Camp
Yeah,
is
I
not
feel
the
like we're
big
going
thing.
to camp out there for just a minute before we get into the parenting,
parenting
and,
piece,
and
yeah.
Dad Ben and Mom Cammie. But that was very intriguing for me. Was like being in seminary classes. I never ever would. I was always like, "Ah, I'm gonna go get a job at a church, and I'm gonna go somewhere cooler than Arkadelphia, Arkansas." And you guys knew that y'all were going to end up there. Is that?
Yeah. Cammie's, well, I'll let you say your take on that. I think it's important for them to hear it from you.
Because you were friends with the owner, right?
We
Yeah,
were
oh, yeah.
very good friends with
Right,
them.
yeah.
Very good friends. They shaped a lot of our marriage, really. I mean, and I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
Truly. They gave us a really good foundation. So we just had that tug to get back because of them. We both wanted to, but especially me. I wanted to work with friends. Like that was the fun thing, and
Yeah. So-
looked all rosy and perfect.
Yeah. And we were both pretty miserable in Waco.
Waco.
We
So
lo-
anything seemed better at that point.
anything. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
part of what led to a lot of the problems that we experienced in our marriage in Waco is that, again, we were so young, and I experienced Cammie not wanting to be where we were. And I remember I called up my dad and I said, "All right, Dad, we're coming home. I don't know what." And my
Because
dad,
you were unhappy too.
I wasn't happy. Like there were birds everywhere. Cammie's terrified of birds. So it's just weird. I don't know.
Just
the
drop
name.
that in real quick. I don't know where it fits.
I don't know the
You
name of that fear, but they have like they
logical.
They literally have
These are not just birds. These
grackles.
are like Nutra rats with wings.
Oh,
They literally have plagues in Waco.
What?
Bird plagues. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, it's birds, and then what's the other one? Was it roaches? No, crickets.
Crickets.
It was crickets.
I
Yeah,
think that's scriptural.
yeah. You would drive through the parking lot, like approaching a store, and you could hear the crunch of the crickets under your tires because there were so many. But at any rate, we were just very unhappy. So I internalized us being unhappy and said, anyway. So my dad said, "It's really not your call whether you come home or not," which is very David Derrick. Like, hey, if God is taking you to Waco, then you may ought to check with him before you just pack your truck and come home, pal. And so I decided in a very unhealthy way, I'm going to double down and get this finished as fast as possible. And that's what led to a lot of the study neglect. And Cammie was working for some financial advisors that were actually doing illegal things, and she discovered that. And
Man.
yeah, that was interesting.
So y'all are on witness
mean,
maybe
protection
we should
now.
have a Waco episode.
You were 22 at this point, and these
Yeah.
guys were some of the, at least they appeared to be some of the most wealthy brothers in this town, and they were doing illegal things with other people's money to get that way.
Man.
So
Wow.
Cammie quit. She was like, you know what? I quit.
Yeah.
Jeez.
All right. Well, okay. Not to get lost in the weeds
Okay.
of
Yeah, 'cause
Waco
I
too
was
much
gonna say, I
because I'm
could hang out
very
there
curious
for a
about
while.
all of it.
Pivot.
Maybe we'll just talk off mic about it and let
Okay,
everybody else
yes.
miss out
Yeah.
on it. All right. So you get out of Waco because I assume, knowing Ben, he probably doubled down on the study thing because he says, my wife's unhappy here. I'm going to get us out of here. But at the same time, it creates some problems and a little bit of tension, I could imagine.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So you go
Yep.
into camp.
It's a very dude thing to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to fix it. So you,
I'll just fix this. You hang on.
so you go into camp with a little bit of rough patch going on. What does starting off camp look like?
Well,
Or maybe even the transition into camp.
Well, okay. Well, we bought our first house, so that
Okay.
was exciting, and we were like, "Yay! Like real life is starting. We're done with school." But our first house was 45 good minutes from maybe an hour from camp, so he was driving all the time
Yeah. Where was the house?
in Pearl.
Oh,
Right across from the correctional facility.
good house.
Fitting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's a
cheap.
great house.
Fitting.
Yeah. The guy that was showing us around the neighborhood was like, now I know that you're near the correctional facility, but a good part about this neighborhood, lots of law enforcement live here. I'm like, That's how you spend buying a house next to a jail.
Also, no hitchhikers. So
That's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
So, what was the question again?
transition into camp
Into
from
camp.
Waco.
Well, I think we both were like all bright-eyed and excited. I mean, you were excited about working with David, and we were excited to be with friends and back home with our family. And it's like all the bad stuff was over, we thought.
And then you got there.
Yeah. I think it was pretty naive, but we did have that, man, the most difficult stuff. We've been married for 3 years. The most difficult stuff's in our rear view. You know, like we made it.
Now
Here
we got good 60 years. of
Now
just-
we could just start living the dream, you know. So
So when did things start to kind of twist away from paradise?
Well, we talked about in the last one, that was a pretty unhealthy point for you, Ben. So I'm curious to kind of tack onto that
Sure.
question. I'm curious, and maybe you had seen Ben in an unhealthy spot before, but at this point, you're a few years into marriage. What are your feelings then? You're like, okay, we're married, we're here, we've moved here, but I see that my husband is in an unhealthy place. Where are you at there? Like,
I think I was feeling like, is this what ministry looks like? Is this what we're in for the long haul? I was unhappy. I think he was unhappy, but we didn't talk about the fact that he was unhappy. There were some red flags that were popping up that we didn't talk about. And then we ended up moving out there. So that kind of further,
you moved to the camp.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. What was the question again?
Sorry, it's my fault. I guess I'm just asking. Like,
how was I feeling?
how
Yes.
did that present itself at the time? Like you said, some red flags, and then how did you kind of process that, cope with that? Because you're in a weird spot there. That's the most odd part of that story to me. Is just like you're at this camp.
Yeah, like what are you doing out there?
So we're moving. Well, we've moved to the camp now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, okay. I actually loved it out there. I know that's a weird answer. I loved it. Like we built a house out there. The camp built it, but we designed it. We picked everything out. So I was like, okay, I've got my dream house. We had a golden retriever who swam in the lake all the time. Like it was just this pretty life from the outside. So that was all going well. I had one of my closest friends living next door, or the couple that started it. So we hung out with them a lot. So there were a lot of good parts to living out there, but then the work was stressing him out and it was unhealthy. And that work dynamic with he and his boss was not good. So, but we kind of compartmentalized. Does that make sense? We was like, okay, well, this is bad, but then we got this good stuff and we'll sweep the bad under the rug. And we kind of lived
We'll
like
figure
that.
that out later.
We kind
a
of lived
thing.
like that for a long time.
Were y'all also trying to start the family at this time too?
We had Owen before we moved to camp.
Oh, well, we skipped that whole important section.
So
okay, I
Owen
thought
was
Owen was
born.
at camp.
No, Owen was born in Pearl.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lucky
okay.
kid.
All right, can we back up a little bit?
Not
Yes.
in Pearl, but when we lived in Pearl.
Yeah. Because I think this is like one of the most important parts of
Yeah.
y'all's story, at
I would
least from the
agree.
outside looking in.
Yep.
So tell us about if as much as you want to, tell us about the getting pregnant story.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember I guess it was about 2005 or so. I just said, hey, I'm ready to have a baby.
Yeah.
And he was not so ready
Oh,
at that
that quick?
point.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we got
fine.
married in 01.
Just kidding.
I'm doing the math. I think it was around
4
maybe
or 5
somewhere.
years. Yeah. 4 or 5 year mark.
We've been married 4 or 5 years.
Well, we had been told, like to their credit, we had been told by the people that started the camp that we work for. They're like, hey, we've noticed with a lot of our friends, and we've seen with people your age, you want to give yourself some time to settle out that marriage dynamic before you add in the child stuff, especially if you're pursuing education.
Yeah.
It just gets really crazy.
Like that was never even a thought when we were in Waco.
Yeah. So we took that, which is that covers a lot of our youth. What that couple was saying, we were like, okay, you know better than us. Cool. We'll follow along. And but yeah, I think Cammie had like a little pad, like the 5-year mark. And
Well, I was like, okay, school's done. His extra school's done. Got a house, check. Like, okay, baby time. I was getting baby fever. He was a little slower to the party, but we started trying, and did not get pregnant within 6 months or so. And then, of course, he's got his health stuff with cancer history. Have we talked about that on a podcast?
Well, we
Is
talked
that-
about.
Well, kind of. You've told more of that story, like on staff retreat and stuff. Like you
Yeah.
didn't. The way you put it is you signed your name on the dotted paper back then,
Yeah.
but you didn't really know what you were
Signed
signing.
your name on the dot, like so. You
So
didn't,
when he got his radiation
Right.
therapy, they said, this could make you
Infertile.
infertile. He just had to sign acknowledging that was a
As a
possibility.
17-year-old.
As a 17-year-old, and he's like, sure. So, and he did tell me that, when we got married, that was a very small possibility. And I was like, sure, let's get married. Because you're not thinking about that. But some time went on, 6 months, 8 months, we weren't pregnant. And we hit the year mark, still weren't pregnant. So my doctor sent us on to a fertility specialist so we could kind of get that question out of our head with his health.
No, your doctor sent us to a urologist for me to be tested.
Anyway, how much do we want to get into that?
Whatever you want to tell us.
We struggled for a really long time.
Yeah.
We I think it was about 2 years of trying before we
That's
got
a
pregnant.
long time.
Before we got pregnant with Owen. So then we got pregnant with Owen and had a great easy pregnancy. So that was no problems there.
I think that experience, though, the inability to get pregnant, the infertility, I think that's what caused us to finally stop and say, we have to get things figured out for us, like what our path is, how this is going to play out. So I can remember sitting in my office. I wasn't sitting in my office. We were installing a pool. This story, man. We were installing a pool at camp by our hardest and above ground, 30 by 60. I'll never forget. But I had done the test, and even at that point, my arrogance, I was like, whatever. Like, I'm not the problem here. And I opened up. It was a flip Nokia that had blue edges on it. And she was calling. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to get home. I thought it was one of those, when are you coming home calls? And I opened up the phone, and before I got it to my ear, I just hear Cammie wailing. She's just saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. So I'm like, this is one of those, okay, someone's died in a car accident, or I wasn't even thinking about the fertility test. Yeah. But of course, as a 6, panic just runs down to my shoes. And I couldn't get her to calm down. I was like, you've got to tell me what's going on, what is happening. And after she said, I love you about 1,000 times, it was, we're not going to have a baby. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm just trying to catch up. And finally she calms down and she says, the doctor says there are no viable sperm. And she's spitting out what the doctor had just told her a few moments ago on the phone call. And I'm like, what is this even, what are you talking about? What does this mean? She's like, we're not going to be able to have a baby. We can't do, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. So I came home from work that day and to the house of Pearl, and I turned the corner. She was in the backyard. I knew because our golden retriever's back there, and my parents were sitting on the patio. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to discuss my sperm count with my parents. This is going to be weird, But they were there because they were really locked into that experience of my cancer. And, apparently they knew a little more than I did about signing that sheet of paper. But that started the journey for us of like, this isn't about camp or ministry or any of that stuff. This is about us trying to get this figured out. And that's when we went to the fertility specialist, to John Isaacs, because of a relationship we had at Pine Lake at the time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it ended up being a really, really long journey. I think that solidified really all those years later that our marriage was our marriage. It took that kind of co-crisis for us to go through together. Mm. Yeah.
And then somehow you have Owen.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of the big mystery. So as it turns out, I'll tell this part because I know you're going to, the parenting thing, but as it turns out, Cammie has Hashimoto's, and that really affects your ability to get pregnant.
It's thyroid.
It's a thyroid condition.
I thought it was a city in
I
Japan.
thought it was a sushi roll.
No, so
It's
Dr.
thyroid.
Isaacs is an incredible doctor who is also,
Please tell that story about me when you met up with him at CrossFit.
Yeah, it's funny. I work out with the guy that got my wife pregnant. That's what
He likes to say that.
listen.
This is
Every
the guy
time I
that got
see him,
my
I'm like,
wife
"Hey, you still
pregnant.
getting strangers pregnant?"
What a dad joke.
Yeah, right. But he's a fertility specialist, but also an endocrinologist. So he dialed in what was going on with Cammie's thyroid, and within a couple of months, we were pregnant. You know,
Man.
Well,
yeah. So it's a really cool story.
So you guys had two things really going against you on the pregnancy thing, and
correct.
well,
Yeah.
and so
Yes.
I'm curious because this is a conversation that Caitlin and I have had recently, not about kids.
This just in.
Dadgummit.
No, don't get crazy.
Yeah.
We were talking about, we were actually yesterday in the truck, we were driving together, and I was like, this is kind of a weird year. And we were just talking about everything that had happened in the past year. But I told her, I think it's funny that it took a global pandemic for me to feel like, okay, we're adults. We could probably do this by ourselves.
That's it. That's it.
We made it through this. We'll probably be okay. And that's kind of the sense I'm getting from that conversation. It's like, as tragic as that whole thing seemed at the time, it's like, okay, we are our own people here.
yeah. How old were y'all when was Dr. Isaacs? How old were
About
you guys?
25 or 26.
That's so
I was
crazy.
27 when Owen was born, so 26 probably when we
I think I
started
forget
seeing
that every time y'all
Dr.
told that.
Yeah.
Y'all tell that story. How
Probably
young
about
y'all
26 going to see Dr. Isaacs.
were. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was very galvanizing for the two of us. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for our conversation with Ben and Cammie. Be sure to join us next week for the second half. All right, whenever you're ready.
Who's got the questions?
We're back to the OG.
That's right. We kicked Avery off. We told her we didn't need her.
Yes.
She tried to take some time off and we said, you know what? You're fired.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what we
right.
did.
You
That's
get
what
outta
we
here.
do.
I have the superior question.
Don't show up for us 1 week and see what happens.
You're gone.
You're gone.
We're just kidding, Avery. We love you. Don't take that personally.
She's not going to listen.
She might.
She's listening. I
Yeah,
know
and she
You
will
think
take
so?
it personally. Oh,
So
definitely.
we're officially entering Ask Us Anything.
With a
Cammie-
guest.
Yeah.
Hold on, not anything.
Anything.
Anything goes.
So
I
the
don't
way-
have to answer it.
The way this works, you can pass because you're
Guests can pass.
Guests
We
can
can't
pass.
pass.
We cannot.
Okay.
So the way this works is people send us in questions. Lately, it has been through Instagram, and actually, I got to see the Instagram questions in Avery's absence, and some of them are good.
For the record, I've washed my legs 14 times since the last time we've sat here.
Okay.
Gosh, yeah. Did you listen to that one?
He told me about that.
How did you feel about that?
I am very disturbed.
We don't shave our legs.
You should wash them though.
I think I'm gonna start shaving my legs.
daily.
If it helps you wash them,
Ben
I'm
has
all
a good
for
razor
it.
he can recommend.
Hey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I discovered it last night,
Yes.
actually.
Do you straight razor your legs?
No. It would take way too long to shave my legs.
Anyway,
Oh, okay.
we have some questions for today.
Let's
You
go.
should wash your legs.
We have a few. You should wash your legs. PSA. First question. What, and this can be large or small,
Okay.
I think. I thought this was a good one, but also like there are small things and big things that do this, so choose it.
Wisely.
Yeah, choose wisely, but also answer at your leisure.
Okay.
What causes you the most stress each week? What causes you the most stress each week?
C segment 1.
Parenting.
Parenting.
My children. I can go ahead. I had an
Okay.
answer just so you guys have time to think because I saw them. So, what causes me the most stress each week? I think it is balancing what I know I should do with the time that I actually have to get things done in.
Thank you.
As we learned last week, I have a strict morning ritual that I go through, a morning routine that I roll through, and part of that is my daily to-do list. And more often lately than not, there are things left over on that to-do list. I don't know if I just have too big aspirations at the beginning of the day,
Maybe.
but I just don't have the time. I don't think I have a good balance of what I can get done and what I need to push till later. So
To be fair, people in our line of work get interrupted a lot. We are not the masters of our own schedule.
well, I think we have our schedule and then we people,
Yeah.
for the week, which is great. You love
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
It doesn't last. I had an idea as you were talking. It would be interesting if we answered this for each other
Ooh.
instead of
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So let me
man.
go first on what stresses you out.
Don't you dare.
Yes.
I know exactly what it is.
I'm very excited for this.
Can you tell me first?
No, I will say this in a very factual, neutral fashion. What stresses you out the most is that you get our home clean in the way that it should be according to your standards. Okay, which means there isn't like staph infection floating around everywhere. So anyway, you keep the house like
That's the standard?
yes.
Okay.
You demail the house.
She's got
right?
like a blue light.
yeah.
That's my want. That's my want.
So, and then literally within 3 or 4 minutes, 3 males just rip right through there and undo most
That
of
is the struggle in that household.
Yes, most of the work that you do, it really stresses you out that you don't, unless we're
I
gone.
just want it to stay clean.
Are you an avid cleaner? Like that's your.
I love to clean.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's my therapy.
it is her therapy.
And so
yeah.
y'all just ruined that?
It's my therapy. Yes.
It only takes about 5 or 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's your thing. So I nailed that one.
Okay.
He was on point with that one?
Yes.
Pretty much. Yeah, you want me to say what I was going to say?
Sure.
This might be no, it's probably not yours. I was going to say like the logistics of who's getting this one to go there and who's getting this one to go there. And then when are we going to meet up and have dinner and get there? Like Wednesdays get hairy for us. Tuesdays and Wednesdays get really,
Me too.
yeah.
I feel
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Yeah. The schedule, the
The
pace.
schedule.
What stresses Ben out the most, you think?
I'm thinking.
You can name names. They probably don't listen.
Please, I was going to say the opposite. Don't name any names.
I think meetings stress you out the most. I think your schedule stresses you out the most.
That thing he packs full.
Yeah.
And I'm not making fun or anything, but like he's kind of got a hard stop. Like he wants to get to CrossFit, which I respect and admire, and I think that's good, and he needs that. But I think trying to pack it all in and get everything done before then. Did I hit the nail on the head? The schedule, the meetings.
From what I know from Ben.
Yes, the way Ben tries to fix meetings, it does make sense. The big tragedy of Ben's meeting quest is that he really, really was starting to get his chiseling away at meetings figured out right before he became lead pastor. And then
You might as well
bam.
just gain a bunch of weight,
Yeah.
dude.
You just forget the gym. I'm choosing meetings over personal health.
We're similar in that way. You and I and Rushma all we have a time where we want to leave.
Guaranteed.
And the gym is like you're exactly right. Hard stop on
Yes.
the day, and then I can go home and be with my family, and it's perfect.
Good for y'all.
But it does not happen that way often.
No.
And then when things start to intrude on the stress level,
Way up.
Yep.
You're like, I'm
Yep.
out of my rhythm. What's this going to cause? Like, in fact, the 3 of us, we hit the top of the stairs at that time each day, and we're kind of looking for each other like, hey, shut it down. It's time to go. Choose health.
why are you still here?
Why are you still here?
That's funny.
How about you, Chase?
my biggest stressor. Okay. So there's like a little bit of personality stuff here. Unhealthy, because I'm correct on this. 3's unhealth goes to a 9, right?
Hey
Isn't that
now.
right? Hey now, this is what Lizzie McGuire.
Great show.
Mine is like managing people being happy and or upset at me
Huh.
all the time.
What's that like?
I hate it, but I can't help
Oh
it.
man.
Austin,
I
I
what's that
feel
like?
that too.
What's
I
it
don't
like taking
that.
other people into account?
I genuinely hate it because there is not a bigger thing of anxiety in my life than that right there. And it just, if I'm in the unknown, whether it's with Rachel or people at work or family outside of like immediate
Except
family.
for you. I think he threw in the towel with you, bud.
That's kind of
I
surprising.
think
to me.
you haven't really been mad at me. Not really. Yeah, so I didn't have to worry about it. I don't know. It causes me so much anxiety. So like a large portion of my brain or my emotional energy goes towards diffusing.
Well, what's interesting about that is I think it overworks you mentally because you work very hard for it not to show. externally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
interesting.
crazy we know each other that well.
Good stuff. Next question.
Great question.
Do you prefer Chicago or New York style pizza? There's only one answer to this.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Wait.
So just for clarification, Chicago is
Deep
I was gonna say I need
deep
a
dish. New York style is like
Large
floppy.
slice,
Oh.
floppy.
Oh,
Wow.
New York.
yuck.
Yuck.
No.
Wait,
What?
which do you prefer?
I like the big crust.
The thick-
Is that Chicago?
Yeah.
Yes, give me the
Too
bread.
much stuff on there.
Too much bread.
No,
It's too thick.
oh, y'all are all flat crust.
I am so I'm a pizza connoisseur.
Oh,
And my favorite pizza in the world is a place in Houston, Texas called Pink's. And it is New York style pizza, and it's as big as both.
Stay on your mic.
It's as big as both of my hands put together. And like our former president, I have large hands. And so you can just I'm just kidding. So you can fold your pizza in two like this and just take a big old bite of it, and it's
That's
just
how to do it.
the perfect consistency.
Yeah, that if I wanted breadsticks, I'll order breadsticks. Don't give me that Chicago junk.
I don't know how to eat Chicago style pizza.
Yeah, it's just
Here's how much of a cheap date I am. My absolute favorite pizza on this planet is thin crust Domino's pizza.
that is true. I've seen
love it.
you choose that.
The
Yeah,
thinnest you can get it.
yeah. I don't know if I'll go thin crust because it's easy to make it like a communion wafer. It just like
Well, plus you eat 3/4 of a thin crust pizza.
yeah, that's
Great.
true. That's
How
true.
you can't express happiness better than that.
So you would say, Cam, if you're a bread person, you're probably going to choose that. I mean, that's what really dictates that. You're a bread person. You like bread.
the crust
yeah.
is like
Yeah,
the celebration part.
yeah.
I like the cheese.
Yeah.
Just want it to be equal
I
ratios.
really just like pizza. Honestly, like put the pizza down and I'll eat it.
That's
I don't. It
kinda
doesn't
true.
matter what
I'll
it
eat
is.
pizza however you put it in front of me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Goodness.
see, we all do it. Next question. What are you watching right now?
Oh boy.
We get this one from time to time.
Yeah.
Are you excited about whatever you're
this
watching
is so
right now?
dumb.
This doesn't count as a recommendation. You're just saying something.
Yeah,
you
what
This
are you
is
watching?
dumb.
It could be good or
Okay.
bad, honestly.
This happened, and I started back on the show during our ice shutdown. I think.
Gilligan's Island.
No,
Oh.
I'm going
Similar.
back. I went back to the start of Grey's Anatomy.
Oh my gosh.
That's
did.
too long.
You
of a
and my
journey.
wife.
I love it. I love it. So
Caitlin
we
was crushing for a while.
watched Grey's Anatomy when Owen was a baby, and it was the new thing. We quit at season something 5.
39.
No,
There are so many of them.
Ben
What
quit
is it in
season
right
8.
now?
Yeah.
What is it in?
17, I think.
Did we quit in season 8?
I think so.
Because
yeah.
he knew. So I was watching it with Rachel,
Does
my
Rachel
wife.
love it?
She loves
Yeah,
it.
I know who your wife is.
No, I have to tell everybody.
Yeah.
It's not just everybody here. It's the whole world that needs to know who Rachel
Who
is.
Rachel, my
Anyway.
wife. Yeah.
Strangers.
Okay.
Anyway,
Rachel, your wife, and you were watching
of
Grey's
whom I
Anatomy.
love, yes, spawned a baby with.
Ew.
We were we were watching it, and like I started it, and Ben was like, "Oh no," and he was like, "Have you made it to?" I was like,
Denny?
no.
Well,
no,
and at the
no."
same time, Caitlin started it in quarantine, and I came in like 2 nights later, and I'm like, "How is it?" She's like, "Well, I'm on season 9." And I'm like, "What the?"
Yeah. Just
There's
one
no
after the other.
school.
She's like, "It's so good."
It's so good.
Is it
I'm
really?
loving
Is it? This
I'm
is
loving
debatable.
It is so
Here's the
good.
thing. I genuinely think 70 to 75% of all the episodes that I watched were good episodes.
It gives
Which
me,
is a pretty, for how many there are, that's pretty
it
good.
gives me anxiety. I can't handle all the medical.
I
I'm just
love
like, I
it.
just can't do it.
If
I
it
love
I'm just
did
impressed
not,
they come up with it
I
stuff.
think they're
Yeah.
really doctors. Like I would go to them if I was. They are convincing.
Don't research it. Stay
yeah.
in that blissful,
Yeah.
that blissful ignorance.
I think if
need
they
you to
didn't
get
have the
an
medical
STD
piece,
test
yeah.
because I know where you've been.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Don't touch me, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll let you work on me.
I think if you subtracted out the medical part of Grey's Anatomy, it'd be a very mediocre show. I think, like
and the drama,
the storylines and
So,
stuff.
just side
is-
note: the current season, I'm not watching it, but is all about COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, there's no way they could avoid it, I don't think. No, the hilarious part is they had the pandemic stuff written before COVID happened, and they're like, oh gosh. And then they had
No.
to pause and redo it.
Wow.
And
They
rework
probably
it.
wrote COVID into all of our lives so that Grey's
They spoke
Anatomy.
Oh no!
Gosh.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
What are you watching, Ben? We know it'll be.
Oh, I
much-
thought that was all of our answer. Grey's Anatomy.
no, I'm
Ben's watching Grey's Anatomy with
unfortunately
me.
watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy too. I've been on a huge YouTube kick lately.
There we go.
Huge,
Welcome.
In fact, I've thought about canceling a lot of my streaming services because I just don't. And
It's not attractive anymore.
Yeah, our sons don't really stream stuff anymore either. Like you can just get such specific information on YouTube. And I love the fact that the more you watch, the more it predicts. It's like the opposite of me.
But the thing
and other
is,
things.
the way they get you is you pay all of it now. So like my thought is like, well, I mean, I could cancel it right now, but what if January comes and I didn't pay for it, and I'm like, man, I could really watch some whatever right now.
Yeah.
So what are you watching on YouTube?
There's a group of people
Truck
called
detailing.
a couple of things. The Training Think Tank. Watching a lot of those guys. They're fitness people, CrossFit people, and they do a lot of explanation on things. I'm chasing a goal for 250 workouts this year, and so I'm watching a lot of that stuff. If I hit something with my truck that I don't understand, I YouTube that, and that's where I get stuck. Like I'll watch it just to get a piece of information, and then
Go
2
down the
hours
rabbit
later,
hole. Yep.
I'm still watching people modify a Ford Raptor that I'll never drive. So yeah, I think automobile stuff and fitness stuff, I just can't get enough. I'm following Froning too a lot. He's doing a great job with his marketing and his gym in Cooksville, and watching that guy work out quite a bit. So
What a dude. Trucks and gym stuff.
trucks and gym stuff, yeah.
What are you watching, Chase?
I should probably say YouTube, because that's the thing I'm watching the most right now.
Always.
Specifically, I've re-fallen in love. Not many people will know who this is. Norm Macdonald.
Oh,
You don't know who Norm
man.
Macdonald
I
is?
don't think so.
He is a funny guy.
Gosh, he's one of the best comedians I've ever seen. Here's what you need to do. Here's a small recommendation I'll do. Am I allowed? Are we allowing that real quick?
You're the producer.
Yeah, it's your show.
Yeah.
Great. His stand-up bit, or his stand-up set that he did for Letterman's last show, is one of the greatest stand-up sets I've ever seen. It's so good. You go watch it, and then everybody else over there, you go watch it as
I
well.
appreciate stand-up.
It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm watching a lot of YouTube. I end up watching kind of by default whatever Caitlin watches until she falls asleep at like 7:30. So she's watching Modern Family right now because we never watched it, and it's fun. It's pretty good. I watch a lot of YouTube. I showed both of you. I'm very intrigued by Casey Neistat's brother, Van Neistat. He has a show. It's basically a series on YouTube called The Spirited Man that I'm very excited about.
What's Van short for? Is it just Van?
I don't know. It's a great name. That's a strong name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Van. We know a
Ooh,
Van.
I like
We do
that.
know Van.
Yeah.
Yeah. And other than that, just college basketball.
There you
where
go.
I'm at.
That time of year.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to do our brackets.
Any more questions?
We have one more question if we, have time for it.
We got
We
time.
got time for it.
good.
This is, I don't know.
The story of a girl.
I can't stand you. I don't remember who this was, but this is like the most deep question
Oh,
I've ever
boy.
heard on here.
All right, we'll go quick.
If fear of failure were not a factor, what is something that you would definitely do?
Whoa. That is a deep question.
I don't know how to, like, it's
too
hard to
deep.
remove that from, that's like all of me. That's who I am. It's fear of failure.
If you could be a completely
We would have
different
like
human.
17 more kids.
No.
Fear of
Fear of
failure.
failure were not a factor.
Oh, yeah. I think I have two. Here's overarching life thing, and then here's current thing, because it's all of my recommendations on Instagram right now. That one is I would invest in the stock market and like actually do it. Because like I've done some of the research to understand it, but the idea of humans being responsible for me gaining or losing money, just there's no way I'll ever do it. But if I could just muster up the courage and do it without fear of all of my money going away, I would definitely start investing.
You know, millions of people do that, right?
Yeah, no, and people lose stuff all the time.
We know a guy.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the other thing?
The other thing is this is probably more like 4 years ago I would have done it, but it's still kind of there. I think it'd be so cool to move to Hollywood and like do that whole life, the whole Hollywood, like whether it's directing or acting or any of that kind of stuff. I just think it'd be so fun to do it. It would probably lose a lot of its glamour, but you know, I like all the technical side of it, and I love movies.
Yeah, you'd be great at that.
Maybe I would enjoy it.
Is
Yeah,
it
it's cool.
fear of failure or you can't fail?
I think it's like, hey, if failing wasn't an option, if you weren't afraid that you were going to fail, what would you try?
Oh, I was thinking about this question all wrong. I was like, if I could seal out the possibility of failure, what
Like
would
you
I
will
do?
succeed.
You
Well, I
will
think
succeed.
mentally that's what you're doing. Like, I'm going to succeed at this, so this is what I'm going to do.
Oh, okay.
So just you on a Monday, you know?
That's right. This is actually how I approach every day. I have two very different things. One is I would finally write the trilogy that I have actually mapped out in Scrivener. It's like I got that far, and then just haven't.
Is this a novel?
You know what John Acuff would tell you?
What would he tell me?
Do it.
Do it. Yeah, it's I've got chapters lined out, three books that are all connected, that about the masculine journey, which I'm really excited about, but I'm pretty convinced I'll never write. So I would do that.
That's the perfect answer to this question.
Yes.
I'm excited, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. The last thing is, and this is going to be bizarre, I think this will even shock Cammie. I would have a pretty large dinner party gathering that I coordinated all the stuff, and all of my favorite people would be at one table for a fantastic meal.
And no one would like
Are you afraid?
cancel.
Or none of us would like contract COVID? Is that what you're afraid of? Or like, is it just
None
that
of
it
us
wouldn't
would
work?
Or would you like
What-
make it? Here's my. If
What
I'm
is
thinking
it?
this,
I don't actually
Ben,
like
you
Ben.
want to
I'm
make
not
it an
going.
experience.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna start off with this as the appetizer,
Ooh.
and then I'm single-handedly gonna cook this specific meal
that
for
what you're
all
talking about?
20 people, and then we'll finish it off with a whiskey and smoke.
Yes, I would want to be the guy that provides like this unforgettable, like, you remember that night we all had dinner?
Okay,
at
that's the most random answer.
Okay.
I love having
That
people
came
at
out
a
of
table.
nowhere.
When you test run that,
Nowhere.
let me know. I'll show up, and even if it doesn't go well,
Yeah, you
just
just
like-
let me down in general.
C minus, but I was glad I was here. You know what I
that's
mean?
right.
Yeah, that would be amazing for me.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
I enjoyed that answer.
What do you think, Cammie?
So random. I would move off grid.
Really?
whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, elaborate.
Yeah, I would like move to the woods. We'd have solar panels, goats.
Tesla solar panels.
Gotta be.
Sure.
Gotta be.
Sure.
she's been watching YouTube also.
Very different YouTube
I
than you're
love
watching.
the off-grid stuff on YouTube.
we'd just go for it. We'd just go for it. We'd
No one would die. That's really the main thing you're saying, I think.
Are you waiting till the kids graduate?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty good risk
It's
reward
safe.
then, though.
It's safe now. They'd hate us. We'd have to homeschool.
No, he means after the kids leave. Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move off grid. I'm gonna write my trilogy, and then a couple times a year we're gonna have people at an amazing meal at our off grid location.
Then it really would be an event.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like this, you're talking about the kind of place you might even have to take a boat to get to.
Oh yeah. Like off grid.
I have a great story for you when we close this.
Okay.
So you guys would have like the cell phone that like only Owen and Shepard have the number to.
Yeah.
But you also,
Yeah.
I feel like you guys would have to have the internet, right? 'Cause that's like,
Oh, definitely.
Yes, because
Yeah.
we would also YouTube about our off
there
grid
we
life.
go.
Yes.
But don't check the subscriber count. Just
Right.
post it and leave it.
Yeah. Who cares if they're watching?
I don't
Yeah.
even care.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
We'd
That's
have
so
we'd have
funny.
animals.
I did not expect that.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's a fun answer.
That's pretty good. Mine were basic. I don't know. Mine would be like, I've always really wanted to box. I think I would try
Ooh.
that. I would like to do a triathlon, but I think I would do that anyway.
I hate all of your answers already.
I think I would probably write more and give some talks that I wouldn't be afraid to get.
You wouldn't like climb
Repercussions.
El Cap or something?
Yeah, but see that like if I could afford to do that, like
I'm not talking about fear of losing money. It's fear of failure, like dying.
if I could do that. I
Well,
would
you
do
don't
that.
have to do it without ropes. That
Yeah, that was just that psycho.
yeah,
Uh, Yeah, I don't know. Mine are
Is he
things
still
like
alive?
that. Yeah.
Although failure halfway up, even roped in, is
is a bad
a
deal.
bad deal. Yeah.
I think the only thing kind of like in the hopper that I would think of that you kind of like where you're talking about with the book is I have done a lot of reading in the past couple of years on mentorship. And there have been several opportunities put in front of me where I could mentor younger guys. And I really, really enjoy that. But I'm afraid that I don't actually have the time to balance that, you know? And so ultimately I would kind of be failing them if I tried to do that. I think I would probably take that opportunity more.
I
you
can
know?
see that. Yeah, good call.
Younger guys like teenagers.
20s. Yeah.
Yeah,
20s.
20s. People that are in college or coming out of college.
Just starting off the
Yeah.
real part of life.
yeah.
Don't move to a camp.
Gotcha.
Had a mentor.
Go to Baylor with a plan.
Anyway, that's all the
Yeah,
questions.
great questions.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
How about another segment?
If you recommend it.
Let's do it.
Same thing.
There's not a chance that was a C.
No.
No, I wasn't going for the C. I was going to cheer.
I just tried to jump in there. We do this frequently. It's like, okay, we're starting, and then I
Yeah.
jump in there.
Did you want to start it?
No.
No, start it how you were going to. I don't want to do it this time. You start it.
Boy, this is a train wreck.
No,
Yeah.
this is great. You do it.
Now I've totally forgotten what I was going to say.
No,
Believe it or not.
Fear, failure.
Yep, that was it.
Okay. Recommend.
Recommend.
Hey, you know what? We had a specific request from our incredible guest, Cammie Derrick. She wanted to do one specific trademark thing for this segment, and we're going to give her the floor space to do it right now. Go ahead, Cammie.
Forgot what it was.
Your mom.
This is my mom's idea. Thanks, Janice.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Janice.
Thanks for making Cammie.
Janice is the originator of Want, Need, Wear, Read.
yeah,
Do we
we-
know that?
Yeah,
totally
we
stole
tell
it.
that story
Okay.
often.
Well, thanks, Janice.
We thank Janice often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did she do that because she hated Christmas?
Other people have done it.
You know,
She
Yeah.
just brought it to their family.
Yeah, she brought it to our because she hates Christmas.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
it simplifies Christmas.
Yeah,
for
Rachel's
her.
mom did it
It
as
simplifies
well.
I'm
Christmas.
all in on it. I think it's
Yeah,
great.
I think it's
And
great.
it keeps your kids from being selfish. So, but that's a side note. Okay.
Yeah. So try that, all you selfish people.
Yes.
Anyway. So what need, where, read?
One need, where, read. We always go in that order, and we divvy it up amongst us and choose the thing that we're currently into that we would recommend for someone else based on those categories. So we start today with the want, which is actually you, Chase.
No.
It's
No,
me.
it's
I'm taking
you.
it. And I have a great one.
Okay.
Oh, great.
You guys know that I love podcasts. I
Oh,
listen
man.
to podcasts. I probably listen to a couple a day just between driving and gym and all of those different things. My new obsession with podcasts is actually somebody that we've talked about previously, but it's kind of a different take on it. So we've talked about Dak Shepard's podcast. What he has done recently is under their armchair umbrella is what they call it, is there are several other podcasts that have come out of that.
I don't really like that because it really muddies up his feed, but I get why
Well,
he
they've
does it.
started putting them in different ones. They're not posting them all on his.
Are you sure? Because it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's your recommend.
So like there's a parenting one called Nurture versus Nurture that is its own
That one is
podcast.
separate, yes.
The one that I love is called Armchaired and Dangerous.
It's very
And it
good.
is all about them debunking conspiracy theories.
Hey.
Their latest one is on the JFK assassination.
Have they done COVID yet?
No.
Shut up. No, they take it very serious. Although he's making more jokes about COVID lately. Have you noticed that?
Is
We
he?
all are.
Yeah.
So the latest one was on the JFK assassination, and it is fantastic.
What do they say?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh,
What the premise is, it's debunking conspiracy theories.
So
They're not buying in.
No, they
Okay.
go through a list of conspiracy theories that people believe about these certain things. So they run through the laundry list of what people think could have happened at 9/11 and why that wouldn't actually work. But the JFK one is fantastic because they end with a story of the actual day of the trial and all of that. And the actual story is so much crazier than any conspiracy theory,
because it's like real.
and it's
Yeah.
wild.
okay.
So,
I'm in.
what's his the dude that helps him host it? David.
Benjamin David Derrick. He had three names. No, his name's David something.
Hold on, I'll find it.
But anyway, it's a really,
All right.
really great
Armchaired
podcast.
and dangerous.
Armchaired and
Hold on,
Dangerous.
vamp. Keep talking.
I will say, anytime you listen to anything on Armchair Expert, there will be a little bit of language, so I will
Oh,
give you a
yeah,
fair
yeah.
warning there.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. It's
David Ferrier. He's an New Zealander.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
but
we've
a
made it pretty
documentarian.
clear with everything that we talk about, entertainment based. This we've been back and forth about this on this podcast, but just because we reference someone famous or like Grey's Anatomy, that doesn't mean we're endorsing everything that happens in that form of entertainment. And
Yeah.
If your filter is not good enough to not be influenced by it in a negative way, then we don't recommend you
no,
do it.
yeah, don't pursue. Do your research. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's certainly things we don't
Not
endorse.
useful for everybody.
Good
Yeah.
podcast, worth a listen if you're so inclined.
Yeah.
Need.
Honestly, that is probably the safer one of the ones he puts out. 'Cause-
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, all right. Need, Cammie, if you don't know, if you haven't listened, needs are usually the more boring ones, but they're very practical.
You
Most
do
of
a
the
lot
time.
of needs.
Y'all keep giving them to me.
Oh, I could do need.
No, don't
No,
change
right?
plans. Yeah.
I'm stealing this one from Rachel because she went out and did it and made it happen, and it's worked wonders.
A
Ooh, I want
photography
to hear.
business?
What is it?
Smoky tea.
Worked wonders.
Oh,
She has a hard market, but we're doing okay. Anyway,
Need.
yes, I need to quit. So we moved into our new house back in August, and we threw some rugs down. We have tile, and that was the end of the story. And then about 3 or 4 months in, Rachel started saying, we need to get some stuff to make these rugs stay still. And then it finally happened. And the one she found for our big one.
She stole this from Caitlin.
Is it rug tape?
She did?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Excellent.
Caitlin should have come on. It's from a Double Check Products. I don't know, but they just call it rug pads. But it's this big old, like, I don't even know how you would describe it.
It's like what you put in a drawer, like
It
a
almost
drawer
look-
liner.
Yeah, a little bit. It's
Yeah.
like woven, smells terrible. It's
Yeah,
gonna
when you
take a
pull
minute
it
for
out
to
of the
go.
bag, it is
smells like you
abrasive.
cleaned your whole
Yeah,
house.
it is
But
abrasive.
It'll go away eventually, but it's this big old square that you can cut the shape and put it
no.
underneath your rug.
Yeah.
And it is like glue.
Yeah,
It is not going anywhere.
when we took ours out of the bag, and it's like an 8x10 piece of sticky tape.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I thought I was gonna. I was like in a fly trap on the floor,
Yeah.
basically.
Now you don't have to get this big one if you have like a runner rug like in your hallway. You can just get 4 corner ones and it'll stay. But if you've got one of those big 8x10 rugs or something like that, you're gonna go on one and get the full sheet because it prevents like the rug up in the
Bunching
middle where
up,
it
yeah.
bunches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been really great.
They work really well.
Do you want the link? Do you need it?
Please send it to me.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll do it. We'll do it
Yes,
live.
Yes.
That's
All
a good
right.
need.
Let's
All right.
let's read
Oh
something.
no.
No,
Wait.
where?
No, where?
Where? Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I didn't really understand this game, and so now that I do
Game.
my
It's not a game.
This isn't
This
a
is
game.
This is our
So-
now that
livelihood.
I do, it seems silly. Okay.
I promise you will not refer the silliest where.
No, you can't, impossible.
The last text I have from Cammie is, "Does your house smell good?" From Christmas. Anyway, I just had
Please
to point
explain
that
that.
She knew
Cammie-
you opened that rug thing.
out. She makes these great Christmas gifts where she puts like oranges and cinnamon sticks.
They actually
and
made the
cranberries.
recommends.
yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody
I did. I
recommended
put it
them.
in
Yeah.
our Christmas recommends. You put it in some
I am
water
so
in your pot.
touched. Really,
Put it
I
on a
am.
simmer. It makes
No,
your
I
whole
am.
house smell great.
Can I,
good.
I feel the need to admit something.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So
On air.
a long time ago when we were LifeBridge then,
Yeah.
the staff would make things for Christmas. What's wrong?
I had to take a deep breath.
Oh yeah, I'm nervous. Like Megan would bake things or like do the chocolate covered pretzels and
Back
stuff.
when we were all happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what can I make that's quick and I don't have to mess up the kitchen and like I can do it really quick. And that's how the oranges and the cinnamon sticks came around.
Oh, they've been
'Cause
around
I could
that
just,
long.
I could just like put all the bags on the counter and like
Yum.
orange.
We love
blah,
it.
blah,
blah.
In
Yeah,
fact,
necessities.
Caitlin has started doing them in gifts since we got
It's a
ours
great
last year.
gift.
You
It's
almost
kind
didn't
of-
do them this year, and
it's
I had
kind
to
of-
beg.
He
Yeah.
did.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
So
Yeah.
All right. So what are we wearing?
we're wearing Lululemon.
Oh, it's always the female guests that talk about Lululemon.
We're wearing Lululemon. Now here is why, okay?
Just all of it? Just the whole store?
Well, it depends.
They have Depends?
There are degrees of
depends.
Lululemon.
Okay.
Lululemon depends.
Like, so we'll start with bottoms, shorts or tights.
Okay.
That's kind of a must. Like tanks, you could get at Target. You know, bras, you could get at Target.
I don't know why you're looking to me for confirmation.
Because he commented on my Target shorts yesterday.
yeah,
I had on some Target shorts yesterday.
they were frumpy.
what differentiates Lulu from the other?
A question I asked a long time ago, and I have figured out the
I
hard way.
genuinely don't know.
Yeah. So they don't ride up your booty. Can I say booty on the podcast?
So whatever you want to
They
guess.
don't ride up. They stay put. So like if you're squatting at the gym, you know, yeah, that's kind of important. They stay in
Or
place.
if you're a mother picking up your small child.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And the tights are flattering. The tights are very flattering. They like hold your belly in and they come up high on your waist and they kind of like give you a little boost.
I feel you.
So
Yeah.
Rachel was a price skeptic for a very long time. And I think Reagan Thomas
That
like
would make
finally like fully talked her into it. I
Yes.
think it's Reagan. I won't promise. Rachel will correct me at some point. Anyway, She swears by them.
They're
now.
worth
The
it.
best leggings she's ever put on ever.
Would recommend
Worth it.
as somebody who sees these often in the gym, if you are a lady and you are going to be squatting or sweating at all, really, maybe go with black.
Yeah, stay with black.
That's a great idea. Yes.
Yep. Blue
Yes.
has many shades. Black does not.
Or like
Yes.
multicolor, you know?
Yeah,
Black is
whatever.
very safe.
Yeah, very
Camouflage
safe.
is safe.
He-
You know,
camo is
sweat
safe.
blends in.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Heathered gray. Not
so
a good
much.
choice,
Not so
no.
much.
Nope.
Anyway.
So, pastor's wife recommends Lululemon.
So we're wearing Lululemon.
To hide your butt, yes.
I've tried to not wear Lululemon, but
yeah.
Yeah.
And
If a product, you are married to the king of it. If
Yeah.
a product is good, you might as well
Spend
pay
the money.
for it
Yeah.
and keep it.
And to be
I've
fair,
bought-
that's what you do for a living. So durability is also a factor.
they will replace your tights.
And you're not an ambassador, right?
No, I'm not an
No.
ambassador.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna really respect and recommend them.
Although we should get them to sponsor the show.
Yeah, after
As
all
much
these
as we talk
recommends.
about it,
yeah,
Vertical
wow.
Plus, brought to you by
Yep.
Lululemon.
Yep.
Hennessy, oh my gosh, what do they call
Hammocks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. So
And
tell
Lulu.
Rachel if she gets a hole in her tights, they'll replace them.
Yep.
She knows that.
Yep.
She said if that's what it is, they're that good and they'll
Yep.
replace them.
They will.
Sold.
No
Why
not?
questions asked.
All right, we to read now?
I guess
go.
so.
Okay, this is a read that I'm back into thanks to Chris Grote, fellow staff member. Jim Collins' Good to Great. This is one of
Classic.
those. Yes, it is a classic. It's one of those books, like so many blog posts, so many episodes on podcasts, so many summaries on YouTube.
Everybody references him in their books.
Yes, yes, but it makes you feel like you've actually read the book when you haven't really read the book. So you got to dig in. It's one of those, he's a very Brene Brown kind of writer that he did years and years and years of research and then said, okay, like it or not, these are the findings. And I've grown to really appreciate those books.
It shows patience.
Yeah. And a lot of it's very Robert, I hate to do this, but it's very Robert Greene. Like,
Let's go.
As much as he doesn't like Robert Greene.
That's right.
He hates
Look,
Here
I
it
just
is
have a painting of Robert Greene in my bedroom. That's all.
yeah,
it is.
well, we're definitely going to have one commissioned for your office,
Yeah,
but
that's great.
Right next to your Obama picture with the basketball. So these books are researched, and Good to Great is one of those where like I can't argue with what this author says because it's banked in facts. It's like I have to take it or leave it, and if I want to be successful, I need to take it. He's got a lot of different concepts in there that are very memorable, but I'm going to recommend don't just look up the summary and don't go to YouTube and try to watch a 5-minute video on what it actually means. Experience the book because it changes the way you think about almost everything you're participating in your life. If it's good, how do you get it great? Or if it's not good, how do you not worry about making it great? Just abandon it and go do something else. It's a great read.
So what? I recommended a book last week, and
Oh, here we
I
go.
feel like
all right, I'll say it, man. I'm captivated by this guy, and Audible is a great way to experience this because he's actually reading it. But you recommend Edgley, the guy that swam around. I always get that confused. Swam around
he swam around Great Britain.
Great Britain, and this guy is like a sumo wrestler swimming over almost 2,000 miles.
Okay, see, now I have some clout in the recommends. That's all
Yes,
I needed.
you won. You
That's all I
won.
needed.
I'm on it. Yeah, and it's worth. He's a pretty good reader too. He takes all those facts those sports medicine science facts that could get boring. Be like, I'm really pulling for this guy.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I
Swum.
needed.
Swum is participle.
Swum.
I have swum.
I have swum. I have not swum around Great Britain, but this individual has
Swum.
swum around Great Britain.
Swum.
We need to
Swammy.
we need to put this out of its misery.
Thanks, Janice.